Hey guys, and welcome to this tutorial. In this tutorial we're going to be covering how to create this floor material as previously promised. I said I'd get to it once it was more optimized. I have it more optimized now. So I'm going to teach you guys how to make this so it will slowly fill in the cracks between the bricks and then gather on the top. I'm also going to show you how to make the blueprint to make that work. We're not going to cover the particles because we've done those already. If you want the particles and you haven't seen that, you can check out my channel and there's a tutorial on how to make these particles there. So we are going to hop straight into this. I'm going to go into my tutorials project, and here you can see the particles that we made back in that tutorial. So I'm going to go into my folder and I'm going to make a new material. I'm going to call this snow gather _m. I'll open this up. The first thing we're going to need is a couple of texture samples. I'm just going to copy and paste that. We need one for diffuse and one for normal. Now in this one I'm going to be using brick, clay, old, diffuse, and brick, clay, old, normal. Now those are starter content textures, so I shouldn't need to provide them to you. You can find them simply by going to content, and then if you search for them, they're there. Okay. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to make sure that we always have these scalable. So we're going to hold U and left click for a texture coordinate. We're going to hold M and left click for a multiply, and we're going to hold S and left click for a scalar parameter, which we are going to call UV scale. We're going to default this at 1, and then we're just going to multiply the textural coordinate and the scale and place this into the UVs of both textures. Okay. Now the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to create a mask for our snow. Now to do this we're not going to use the entire texture sample. If we start previewing this node, you'll notice it's just bricks, which is fine. Stop previewing that. But if we take just the green channel, we're going to need a vertex color, and we're going to hold M and left click, and then we're just going to multiply the green channel by vertex color channel of green. If we start previewing this, you'll notice we get a black and white image. This is what we want. You'll notice that it's darker between the bricks, as it naturally would be. So we'll start previewing this. Now we're going to need to multiply this again. But this is how we're going to determine how much snow. So we're going to hold S and left click, and we're going to call this snow amount. I'm going to default this at 1 for now. I'm also going to hold 1 and left click for a constant. I'm going to set this to 10. And I'm going to divide this, or hold D and left click. So 10 into the A, snow amount into the B. We're going to put this into the multiply. If we start previewing this node, you'll notice now we have this whiteness. Okay, and if we turn down the snow amount, we should lower the amount of white, or rather it seems to get brighter. Because yes, it will get brighter because we need to invert this first, so that the higher this is, the darker it should get. Yeah. Alright, so we'll stop previewing this. Now what we're going to do is we're going to hold O and left click for 1 minus X. And now if we preview this, it works the way we intended. So we get the white between the cracks. So basically it's taking the darker sections of this version and making them bright, and it's taking the bright versions and making them incredibly dark, which is what we want. So this is how we're going to mask in our snow. So now that it's all inverted, it will not work correctly if we don't add it back into this channel. So we're going to drag from the green, we're going to add it back. We're going to put the 1 minus x into the A and the green channel into the B. If we start previewing this now we get a combination of the two things together. Very bright between the cracks, and some dark and some light in the brickwork. Okay. This is because we've combined the two things, we've blended them together using an add mode. Now what we're going to do is, because it's black and white, and you'd notice if we go back into this preview, some of this is very, very bright. It's almost emissive. This is because some of the values are going beyond 1. So we're going to clamp this to make sure that none of them can go beyond 1. And you notice that's darkened it quite a bit, because none of the white can go above 1. Any value above 1 on a color channel begins to be emissive. So we're clamping this to make sure that it's not emitting any sort of light. Now what we need to do is we need to add this in with our diffuse, because right now we're only using it with the green channel, but we need it to be in all channels so that it blends nicely. So what we're going to do is drag out from our RGB pin. We're going to alert this, and we are going to add a constant here, which we're going to set to 1. If we preview this, as you know from previous videos, 1 is white, so this is representing the color of our snow, and this is going to act as our alpha, or our mask. So now you can see the color of the brickwork is also in there, and the only places that are white are the places that are snow. So if we turn down the snow amount to 0.3, we'll have a very small amount of snow, and you can see that it's blending the colors properly. Okay, so now that we've got that, what we need to do is we just need to change it up a little bit because it's a bit bright. So we're just going to add a power node and plug this into the base, and now you'll notice we get it much better because it's removing some of the blend and it's darkening things. So you'll notice that it's a lot darker than the original, but that's what we want. So we're going to stop previewing this, and we can plug this into our base color. So that's our base color sorted, and you'll notice we're very shiny and we're very flat, so we need to do everything else. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this clamp and we're going to use this in some of our other attributes. So we're going to clamp it again because we want to change the values. And this first one we're going to be clamping between 0 and 0.3. I'm actually going to put this into the metallic. This will give the snow a little bit of sparkle to them. So it's not really metallic, but it gives the snow that extra little glint that you would expect. And then we're going to do the same, clamp it again, but this time to 0.6. And we're going to plug this into our roughness, which doesn't look quite right. So I think I've confused my... Yes, I have. I've put them around backwards. We want minimum of 0.6 and maximum of 1. There we go. Good. But we've missed out the fact that we require to invert this again. Because we've originally inverted it, we're getting the You notice that the shine is on the brick rather than on the snow. You can see it particularly there. This is because I've missed out a 1 minus x. I'm going to take this, bypass this clamp, and plug this into this one. So now it's the snow that has the roughness. You see that now? It's the snow that shines, which is perfect because snow is wet and crystallized and would reflect some light. So that's everything except for the normal map. Excuse me. So what we're going to do with the normal map is if we just plug this straight in, what we're going to get is the snow is directly affected by it. So you'll notice that the snow here is only falling into the actual normal gaps. Now, we don't quite want this, it's slightly unrealistic. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to blend it somehow. So we're going to create a bump offset. And we're going to do this using just the red channel, which will give us a really funky yellow. Of course, we haven't got a height yet. So hold one, left click, plug it in the height. And there we go, we have this really funky yellow and green. So I'm going to set this to 0.1. I'll stop previewing that because it's weird. And then we're going to get another copy of the normal, and we're going to plug this into the normal UVs. And then if we start previewing this, you'll notice we get this really weird effect, which is going to act as the normal for our snow. Okay, it's very weird, but it will work out. So we're going to stop using this. Now what we're going to do is we're going to hold M and left click for a multiply. We're going to plug this into the A. Then we're going to grab our original mask from this clamp and plug this into B. If we start previewing this now, you'll notice that the blobbiness is only where the white is because we're using this as a mask. We're using the snow mask for this bit. So what we're going to do now is, once again, we need to reblend these things. So we're going to add, we're going to place the original normal into the add, the masked normal into the add, and then this into the normal. And there we go. You can now see that we have that strange normal on the snow, which is reflecting the regular normal on the bricks. The snow's falling in depending on where the mask is. And we can apply this. The material is finished. Now what we're going to do is we're going to find our snow. We're going to right click it, create material instance. I'm going to drag this onto the floor. Now we have a default UV setup for this, so it's going to be huge, as you can see. So we're going to click on this. We're going to tick both of these. And now we're just going to change the UV scale, so maybe 20. 20s. Yeah, 20's a decent for this one, a decent size for this area. Maybe a little less, maybe 15. Yeah, 15. Okay, we'll save that. Now, one thing that we're also going to do is we're going to go back into our original material, and very quickly we are going to right click on the texture sample. We're going to convert it to a parameter. I'm just going to name this floor diffuse, and we're going to do the same for both of the normals, and we're going to call this floor normals. Now what this does is it exposes these things as a parameter to our material instance. So if we open this up now, you'll notice these are here, and this pretty much means that we can just choose any texture that we want. So if we zoom in on this really quick, let's go with brick clay new and brick clay new. There we go, and you'll see that it's working with this set of textures as well. I'm going to keep it on these ones for now. So the next thing that we're going to do, because if we play it's just always static, is we're going to make a very fast blueprint for this. So I'm going to keep the floor selected because I'm going to need this. Go open the level blueprint. I'm going to right click, I'm going to create a reference to floor. I'm going to right click and I'm going to type begin play and then event begin play. Now what we want to do on event begin play, we're going to drag off a floor. We want to create dynamic material instance for the static mesh component, and then we will plug this in. The source material is our snow, so add that in there. Now what we're going to do with this is we're going to drag from the return value, set scalar parameter value, and in parameter name we have snow amount. We're going to set snow amount to 0. Then we are going to have a delay. So we don't want it to fill in straight away. We're going to add 10 seconds to the delay. Then we're going to create a custom event. Add custom event. I'm going to call this snowfall. Drag this down here. Now from the delay completed pin we'll drag off and we'll call snowfall. Now when snowfall occurs, what we're going to do is we're going to add a timeline. Okay. Play this from the start. If we go into the timeline, we need a float track. So we're using a scalar value. I'm going to set the length of this to 20 seconds. On the first, quickly, because right click and then add key to curve with it selected in time 0, value 0, because we want it to start with 0 snow. Add another key to curve and in time 20 seconds, value 4.5 is a nice value. Now we go back to here, and now we're going to just grab this and we're going to update this, plug the new track into here. We can, if you want, under new track we can rename this snow amount, which is good because then you won't get confused. I do that a lot. And then we're going to drag this here from the dynamic material instance, so we're changing its value again. Now if we compile this, it should work. Oh my. So it's working, but our scale is not, because we're creating a brand new version. So because we're creating a new dynamic material instance, even though it's already a material instance, that's why it's resetting it. So what we need to do is we need to also drag these out. We want to set the scalar parameter value of floor. Oops. I believe I called it UV scale, didn't I? So UV scale. We'll plug this into the target. The value we have set to 15, and now we'll compile that again. If we play, there we are. Now we have our bricks the right size. Our snow falls, and the floor will slowly gather. There we are. It's a little bit fast, but for for showing how this works, then that's okay. So there you have it. It's actually really rather simple. So I'm just going to quickly, just because I didn't like how much that filled in, I'm going to go in and I'm going to change this value from 4.5 down to maybe 2.5. Yeah, I hope that this is something you guys find useful. It's quite a bit of fun to put together, and when it works, it's actually a really nice effect, and it's very satisfying. So as always, if there's anything in particular that you would like me to cover, then please don't hesitate to ask. I'm happy to go over anything. Just let me know, and if it's, I'll look into getting a tutorial for whatever you guys need. So thank you very much for watching. Hope this has been helpful. And see you next time.